Karibuni, welcome tuelimishwe kwa masuala ya jamii, tutumbuizwe sana mbalimbali, tujuzwe juu ya matukio ya kila pembe, wapa burudani kwa familia nzima.
Well, good evening, everybody, wherever you are. If it's Tuesday, if it's 9:30, you know it's the men's den. If you're a man out there, you have a boy out there, you are a woman who's interested in man's affairs, if you are someone who wants to impact society, this is your moment. It is the men's den, and today the topic at hand, what is peace to a man? Give him his peace. We want peace. Give a man peace, he will stay. What is peace? We want to dissect these all together so we can at least have an understanding. I know, and we all understand that it's a subjective matter, but let's try to get our heads together and understand, what does it mean? What is peace to a man? And of course, all the panelists out in the background watching and just about to get in, we have our own James. I know James Mwathi is here, the psychologist, and he is ready to engage with us and indulge with us on these matters. James, habari ya jioni?
Poa sana, Eshuchi. Why are you bringing me first and I want to be peaceful? I thought today is all about peace.
I'm bringing you first so you can get in here and just, peacefully watch as the rest come. Of course, I'm going to bring the chaos a lot in the end, yeah? That's James Mwathi, and I think being the most peaceful of the group, I think, is going to have a lot to tell us about what peace is to a man. Then we have our own Mr. African man, Matasyo Kagwa mwenyewe kutoka kule mbali. Yes, Mr. Matasyo, how are you today?
Good. Very, very fine today. Very fine today. Good evening. Very happy to see you here today. I'm ready for it. Yeah, as James, my friend, says, you are ambushing us very much, man. We need peace. We need peace.
We need peace. Yeah, I know on the same peaceful note, of course, we have our moderator. Yes, the man from Western Kenya and all the way from Belgium, we have Likuyani Eli with us. And of course, he also is coming in the capacity of our moderator. Mr. Likuyani Eli, karibu sana, utuambie ama utuulize. How are you, man? You were just in a shirt the other minute. You changed into a t-shirt. Okay.
No, I can see trade secrets.
I know. Karibu sana bwana Eli.
Eshuchi and the rest of the panel tonight. Mambo vipi?
Salama.
Yes. Eshuchi, you've been asking this question, and before the men and myself came on set, we were asking ourselves, what is peace to a man? There's one thing that is peaceful to me, if that's a word to go by. But Eshuchi, I believe music creates peace in my mind. So play like you. Nipe tu kamoja kakunipea peace of mind.
Aticheza kama wewe.
Unataka nicheze kama mimi? Sasa nitawacheza. Unajua watu husema musicians sisi huambiwa you only play to men. Kama uko kazi, kama uko kazi, that's the only time you play to men.
But you're playing to the audience. You're playing to the audience.
Okay.
Give me that.
Now listen,
touch.
These are very one of the most interesting tunes I find that actually tries to dissect what really peace is to a man. And this is a piece by Kenny Rogers, the late Kenny Rogers. He works hard to give her all he thinks she wants. A 3-car garage, cars on credit card. Well, he checks in to wake her up with a kiss goodnight. If only he could read her mind, she'd say, buy me a rose, call me from work, open the door for me, what would it hurt? Show me you love me by the look in your eyes. These are the little things I need most in my life. So you see, for the man, peace is just, let me get home and sleep. For a woman, she wants a rose. She wants you to open for her the car. Tell her you love her, even if it's, it means nothing. But well, that's just about it. The most women enjoy.
You know something funny, Eshuchi? I think you're taking
Yes.
me to the moment. You see, for me, country music, what country music does to me, I can't explain. When I'm
Ah,
stressed, when I'm fatigued, I can listen to country music for 3 hours nonstop. Most people can't understand that. But
I
country
love
music for
country
me,
music.
it just calms me down. I go to some zone that I can't explain myself.
I
I know
feel you.
that zone. I know that zone. And Eshuchi, thank you for bringing us there. And yes, you are working, so that's why you're playing music to us and the rest of the audience. So in case you're joining us for the very first time, this is the Men's Den, and we are here with, of course, the African man, who we are trying to have a peaceful moment, but the guy cannot stop writing. African man, what gives you peace? Is it poetry? Is it just something in your hands that is itchy?
I think for me personally, I can say a peace of mind is when you have the time and the atmosphere to put your brain on what we call idling. You know, when an engine is on idling, in a guruma tuna yendi pahali, that's the peace of mind. You know, then you can process the day. But these things are always like, for me, it's like that evening. You know, when you've done your work today, you come home, yeah, you've eaten, you relax, kidogo, you start to look back at the day. Music helps
Mhm.
a lot. Storytelling helps a lot. For me, it's stories. For me, it is. I'd rather just come home. I call Eshuchi, tell me, how is Nairobi? Tell me, today, I saw this and this and this, just to relate. So for me, peace of mind is actually that process where your physical world is arranged in a tune, in an energy that can
Mhm.
put your brain in a kind of float mode, like automatic pilot. Then you can process ideas, you can get energy, you easily accept the failures you went through in the day, you easily appreciate the success you went through, you easily forgive those who trespassed against you in the day, you easily also apologize for the things you didn't do. So for me, peace is when you can create that atmosphere where you can really reflect on your day and also plan on how you want to move on. And for man in general, I think a peace of mind is when you can refer it to what really men in general, as I say, could need. It's
Yeah.
just the atmosphere to be able to stay focused on the idea. Is it a vision? Is it a plan? Is it a dream? That's why you see sometimes it's very difficult to deal with people when some people have a time they reflect on their work or they reflect
Mhm.
on their planning. There are those people, they have to wake up 6 o'clock in the morning, they watch the news, they have a cup of coffee, they set their brain in gear again towards the goal. Because peace is equals to success, in my view. Because you
We
cannot
will. We,
succeed without peace.
I want us to work it the other way around. You've mentioned the morning, what I call the morning regime. Let's talk about the evening regime. James, I have had a lot of problems with the people I relate with when I get home and stay in the car for an hour
Yeah.
unwinding. Is this manly or is this strange kind of trait that some men actually have? James.
Ellie, do not worry. You're not alone in these problems with the people who are close to you. You're not alone. But looking at it, number one, Eshuchi captured it correctly when he said this is one of those topics that we will cover that is very subjective. It is very, very subjective. It will differ from one person to the other, but we have some generalities as men. Okay. And I want to just capture what you specifically asked about the evening you've gotten back home and you just want to chill, for lack of a better word. Now we have to understand that in the world of a man, when he wakes up you will allow me to start there because we have to have a start to get to the evening. When the man gets out of the house in the morning, he's gone out to conquer, he's gone out to gather, he's gone out to sweat, he's gone out to fight, for lack of a better word, because at the end of the day, there is a lot of deliverables that are expected of him by society, by his family, by his relations. There is a lot. So when he goes out there, he goes into a jungle. Yeah. And most today, his brain will be on overdrive, trying to juggle one thing against the other, trying to see what responsibilities do I have vis-a-vis, what are my sources of accomplishing these responsibilities, what are my incomes, it's a mad fight. He's in a ring, he's in a boxing ring out there. When the man comes back in the evening, he just wants to breathe. He does not want to engage. He does not want, that is his moment to just breathe and be. Yeah. Especially for people who have rushed mornings. Yeah. I've had African man talk about that person who wakes up to reflect, quote unquote, in the morning. But you can imagine that person who wakes up in a run in the morning. So they've not had moments to breathe and be by themselves. Again, remember, men, we are not as vocal as ladies. Yeah. So we will internalize, we will take in a lot during the course of the day, that at times we are not even able to process everything that is happening to us during the day. And it is in the evening that you come back to the house and you just want, so to the house, to the car, to the garage, to the man cave, whatever name you will give it. But you want to come and just settle down, breathe, calm down, and process the day. Now, unfortunately, and I know we'll get there, very many of our other lovely species have no idea about this, and they can't understand what you're doing and why you're not talking to them. And sasa umekasirika, and before you know it, you are just having your moment, and it is chaos. I think you're mute, Eli. I think you're mute.
Pardon me for that, gentlemen. I beg your pardon. I want to go back to my initial question. Do we have moments as men that you come from work and you opt to stay in the car for an hour or so, doing nothing? And some people have problems with this. Eshuchi, because James opted not to answer that.
I'm sorry, guys. That trouble that you guys undergo, that one I can't relate, because I don't have people in the house who would give me a reason to stay down there. But I can try and analyze it for you guys, because I observe that a lot of times. I think it's one of my biggest observations. What I know and what I have decided to believe in matters that kind of a situation is there has been a foul cry from a man that, of course, has not been heard because, of course, it's not even vocalized and expressed for that matter. Men don't have space that belong to them in their houses. I think that is what that is what I can tell from that. Men, you get into the house. Let's say the moment you're married and maybe you have a kid running around the house. The moment you get to the house, you realize the sitting room is taken by the mom, mostly the child and the mom, because now the child is watching cartoon and all his or her toys are all over the place. When you go to the bedroom, bibi ameamua leo ameosha bed sheets, ametandika duve mpya, she doesn't want to see anybody there. And everything in that bedroom belongs to the woman. The dressing mirror, the dressing area, she has arranged the wardrobe. She doesn't want you doing stuff there. You cannot throw your socks at the doorstep because, again, that's another fight. Then she's again in the kitchen. You can't walk in the kitchen. You have no space in that house. And I wish people understood this. And perhaps, like we say, this is very personal. One of my biggest dreams and my biggest desires as a person is, if I ever get to a point where I have a family that I live with, I am very deliberate that I will ensure I have at least one room in that house that belongs to me. That belongs to me. Hatutasumbuana na mtu eti ni rangi gani nitapaka kwa ukuta. We want, because I also really love my spaces looking a particular way. So if I want my room dark and ambient and dull, and I just want to go there and stay and reflect, then so be it. And just to add on top of that, you realize now this man decides, you know what? And that's why you see men really have a thing for their cars. People think that men just love their cars because, oh, it's a man thing. No, this man knows this is another second home for me. This is where I'm going to live. This is where I stay. After work, this is where I can listen to my music peacefully. No one will change the channel that I'm listening to. No one, no one will interfere with the prescriptions around this space. So that is the only space that you can actually claim as ownership for as a man. So I think I would understand why a man would want to take an hour or two in the car before coming to the house. Before you start thinking of other things, I think just imagine after a whole day at work and this gentleman wants to rest, is him getting into the house the instant place that he's going to rest. And don't get it wrong, he's not going, we're not saying that he's avoiding the kids or avoiding anybody or he's not happy or looking forward to meet the family. But can he have a moment of reflection, a moment alone without being questioned around his moods, around, oh, yes, my take on that.
Why are you not talking
Probably,
to me?
Eli, just one comment before we move on. And it's interesting that that Eshuchi brings this. When you look even at our settings as Africans and the way we are cultured, we are made to believe that the home, it is the woman who makes the home. Yeah. So technically what we do is we cede the home to the woman. And I couldn't agree more with Eshuchi that once you have a partner, live-in partner, and probably children, then it dawns on you that that house does not belong to you. You can't come and sprawl on the sofa the way you want. You can't come in half naked, you can't drop your clothes on the ground. You can't. There are so many set unspoken rules that you realize this is not my space. And remember, do not forget the fact that we've said a man is not very vocal. A man will not start kubishana with the woman. No, I need to do this. And then especially if they are children, what the man will tend to do is withdraw from the house. And in the recent past, we've seen two phenomena spring up. There is the concept of the man cave, and that's what Eshuchi is talking about. Men are deliberately creating that space that is their own. They will put a flat screen the way they want. They will play the kind of music they want. Everybody knows that is his. And it doesn't matter what he does with that particular space. But then now, and I think this comes with this new generation, I've come across men who get together and get a house and get a different apartment. And you find that apartment is just for chill. Yeah. And you'll find you will occasionally go there and just be. We can laugh, but this is what is happening.
I will request we hold that thought, get to the comment section in a few, and come back to it because there's a very interesting
Today
aspect.
We do not want comments. Today we are
we're just having a peaceful evening. And thank you so much for joining in tonight, everybody that is coming for the first time. This is the Men's Den that happens every single Tuesday right here on TheArtsinHeart from 9:30 p.m. East African time. Now, unfortunately, this is our last episode of this season, so better stick in because we are unwinding as men. We have Nancy Magen who says, good evening. Good evening to you, Nancy. How are you doing tonight? Again, goes ahead and says, yes, we are happy with the small things in life. And I believe this is in conjunction to the song Eshuchi walked in with when we started the show. And we have, of course, an interesting account here that says, know it all. I love the great conversation. Thank you so much. Welcome to the conversation. I believe this is your first time here, so subscribe and be part of the family. Eshuchi, there's a counter here says socks at doorstops will definitely bring a fight. Hashtag men's den. Okay, Njekita. I can't wait to hear more about this. We have Caro Kenya who says, hello, everyone. Hello, Caro. Wewe tulihama Facebook, so you better move this other side on the YouTube channel. And let me take one more comment from Nancy who says, guys, we also want a break after a whole day of work. But unfortunately, we can't have that me time for 1 hour because there is food to be served, children asking for attention, laundry to be done, and the list continues. And of course, what a better feminist kind of movement happening tonight, because Jekita is joining in the conversation and saying, very, very true, Nancy, what about our time for peace? All the same, we are talking about the peace when it comes to men. We'll be back after the break. And remember, the conversation is, what is peace to a man? Let's take a break. Aya, ilienda wapi?
Finally, we have another offer because Christmas came earlier than expected at Joymark Wallpapers and Deco. So with only 950 Kenya shillings, you get yourself a roll of wallpaper. Different designs, different colors, different textures. And guess what? The best quality in town. You don't want to miss on that. Get your roll today and get your space looking and feeling even more beautiful. Get in touch with us on 0712 027 807 or follow our pages at Joymark Wallpapers and Deco.
Well, subjectively, I can tell Joymark is really trying to make space for women. I don't know where men are because I can't see a man cave there. But then again, get in contact and get your offer ready for selected wallpapers. Back here, we are talking with the men. And gentlemen, there's the aspect that James mentioned of having men renting an apartment just to ease out. Nothing fishy, nothing boyish, just having the man time. We've had discussions about men who actually leave work and decide they are going to spend a time at a particular pub because going home is a problem. As long as hakuna news na football, they rather spend time with the boys. Could there be any other specific reasons for this, Matasyo? Yes, Matasyo.
First of all, today I think I'm agreeing with my brothers. We're on the same side both today. And I see I really relate. Even though Eshuchi talks about, he doesn't relate to this one of waiting in the car. They call it waiting. But it's actually a very common thing. And it's a very healthy one. First of all, I want to advise everybody it's a very healthy one. But it's being turned into a negative thing for those who don't understand. Earlier, I'll start with that. You said you have a problem with people who are closer to you. When you come home and you take a few minutes in your car, a lot of men do that. And not only men, a lot of soldiers, let us say, in every aspect. Let us leave coming home. Sometime for me particularly, I would rather leave home earlier in the morning, stay in the car in the parking lot, just prepare my job. Sometimes it's just to look from the window, see how is the situation at work today. You understand? You can even notice maybe there is no electricity or something has happened. There's just that moment of, okay, now when I'm stepping in here, I'm going out there to make things happen. What I reflect in both is what I think the modern man has not learned to create. We call them escape corners. What is you say, you have a place you set with somebody, you'll have that room for yourself. Like even, let's talk about us men's then, our own live shows. Everybody here, our own live shows. I know there is a time you have had a problem with your friend or your son or your girlfriend or your wife just because you want that hour of your own space to go live. Or you have to explain how this life is important in your life, or you have to explain why they should not be in the background, or you have to why you need all the lights in the house for yourself. That is important. We have, first of all, to appreciate and learn what we have lost, what the tradition and the culture of today has lost us, is creating the men's escape corner. Traditionally, in the old days, you have this from the childhood. You understand? When I mentioned last time about Wakochi, those ones you are sacrificed together, those are the people that you learn together to create your own space. Like when we were young boys, you know that corner at the river where you go and make your own toys and play with. You know that corner where you go talk about girls. You know that corner where you go and try some scientific things, whether it is even in the middle of maize plantation, that corner under the tree, you go hide the whole day and roast maize. That is the beginning of creating your escape corners. Now, this escape corner is very funny for a lot of men. I did a research. I tell you, the most common 4 escape corners is your car comes number 1. And then next to that one, you have things like the garage, basic things. Not even where your children will come is the most expensive. Behind the garage, somewhere under, even a lot of African men is all under a special tree. There is always under a special tree with a very, very cheap bench made from wood, even just taken a log of wood put there. But when your uncles, your father are sitting in that corner, it's a very special place. So what we have to get as men right now, what can help us in getting our peace, try to create your escape corners as much as possible. For most people, it is the car, the office, the toilet, and the telephone. This is a very common. And when you talk about telephone, talk about communication. Like for you, all you are men's den. I know everybody here in men's den have the little corner where the men's den things are there. Even your children don't touch. Like my notes, nobody will touch these notes of men's den. They may make sense for nobody else, but so that one is what is important. And I agree with you that is something we have to reflect onto. And if you want any peace, there is no need of a man talking about manly peace when you have not learned how to create your own escape corner. This escape corner, the risky with it is it may be very humiliating for other people who are not part of it. Take, for example, you come home, you go on with your earphones, your children are at home, you're listening to your music, you are doing your things, you don't give anybody attention. You will have a fight with your parents, you'll have a fight with your wife, you'll have a fight with your children. Nobody else, if your children do that, you don't have a serious fight. If your partner does that, you don't have a serious fight. Why? Because men, we have been created, I talk for African men, I don't know other ones. For African men, we have seen as hunters and gatherers. So it means your playing ground is out there. You don't hunt in the house, you don't hunt in the kitchen. Your playing ground is out there. So that is where you thrive. That's where you thrill. And that is what people see. And that's what they appreciate. Even like somebody who runs a marathon. After you've run a marathon, you are the Kipchoge, you have won everything. You carry the whole flag of Kenya in the middle of Germany. Which corner do you go at the end of the day to even watch your own match, your own game on television? Which corner? So some people find it in the car, some people in the toilet, some people in the office at work. So this is the most important thing to create. And remember, when you are a hunter and a gatherer, you are actually the queen maker. Just the opposite of behind every man, there's a successful woman. Behind every queen, there must be a queen maker. And now when you make the queen runs the kingdom. You understand? So you better have some little corner for yourself in the beginning before the kingdom is big enough. So that's why I agree with Eshuchi. Even before you buy a car, even before you have those extra rooms, just have like a small stool, for example. Papa kikalia kwa hii, hata watoto hawamsumbui. Then you can advance to a car, you can advance to your own studio, and that's the most important thing. Then you have your physical representation of your own personal peace. Then from there, you can thrive. So for me, I agree with you all, and I think that is the most important thing that men have to learn from a very young age to create your own escape corner.
Great. Thank you so much, Matasyo. That is deep and intense. I'm having trouble asking questions to Eshuchi, so I don't know if he will talk hypothetically or through friends tell story. I don't know what questions to ask.
But he's still a man, and he needs his peace also.
You see, he told us the kind of problems you guys are suffering from. I don't subscribe.
I thought it was one particular.
But let's try this one, Eshuchi. Let's try this one, Eshuchi. You walk home, having a tough day. Now we are coming back to the reverse that we talked earlier about. You walk home.
No. I have stayed with someone's daughter for a bit. But it's not very hypothetical. Yes. Don't go there. Okay, you shoot up.
You go home, and the first thing you meet is, why are you looking like that? And why are you late? Are there questions you don't want to be asked once you arrive home for your peace of mind? What would be these questions?
First of all, I think in my answering this question, I would also be reacting to a comment I saw. There's someone who was asking, what about the peace that women want? Trust you me, And I think I was laughing in the background because I remember a meme video that I just saw at the beginning of the week where a man and a woman were playing a game, and there was a basket, and then they were trying to throw apples into the basket, and so they were competing. So the woman would ask questions, and then it would be like some sort of a challenge, and the man needed to throw and aim properly, and then the man was doing very well, trying his best to aim and get the basket. And then the woman said, the next question that I'm going to ask you, if you don't aim properly, I'm not speaking to you for a week. And the man who was in glasses, he removed his glasses and he threw the apples deliberately anywhere but in the basket. And so thing was, all I saw was a man who was so excited at the conditions that come with him losing this particular one. What I want to say is this: half the times, or maybe let me say 8 out of 10 times, when a man is just silent and maybe getting his peace, do you know sometimes men don't even have a problem being in spaces of people. The problem is it's almost impossible to be in the space of somebody else or your family members or your wife and children and not have to talk, because when you do not talk, it's another problem. Trust you me, if you are going to stay in that kitchen and cook in peace, or I'm going to do my thing in that house and cook in peace, and you do your thing and cook in peace without all these questionnaires coming from end to end, I totally have no problem. So your peace is there, but you're not exploiting it because you want to use all the time to ask endless questionnaires. That's why the man chooses to stay in the car. One of the questions that I do not like, and perhaps this just makes me a little unaccountable, is I think I love operating on grounds of trust. And I also believe that I'm a communicative person. So that means then that if I owe you an account of something or my schedule or a life that we run together, I will tell you that today I will do this and this and this and this and this and this. And then perhaps I'll be home at this and this and this. I might be this and this, give or take this out. So when I come home and the first question you want to ask me is, where were you? I already jump into the victim seat because already it's accusatory in its tone and all that. And why do I don't know how to react where I am, but let me tell you guys a story that you people don't know. I started staying alone when I was in Form 4. Yeah, like in Form 4. That is the first time I stayed alone. And after Form 4, I got away from the village and then went to hunt and gather, as Matasyo puts it. And I stayed alone, and then I went to campus and I lived alone, and then from campus, and then I'm here. So it's so foreign to me when you want to ask me where where I am from. Imagine after all these years, the only person who made me cautious of it's time to go home now ni Uhuru Kenyatta na curfew yake ya COVID. Otherwise, I am someone who I operate on convenience, my convenience. However, I understand that there's a place for accountability, especially if you live a life or you run a life with people who depend on you, people who rely on you, because it could be for all reasons. Someone could actually be worried about you. Someone could not, be in the space. So that communication is there. But again, I think when communication comes into play and questions come into play, the bigger question is not even the content of the question. The bigger question is in the how. You can ask me where I was in a manner that is okay, and I will have an explanation for you. You can ask me where I am. Unajua mi huona watu wanapigiwa simu, kwani uko wapi? I will not come back to that house. I say I am. Then I come. Well, okay.
James, thank you so much, James. I've had instances that I've argued with my partner over issues such as, please ask me a question. Don't, how I say it? That questionnaire you have where it's like you're having a DCI in front of you. What is the word? Don't interrogate me.
Interrogate.
And they confuse it to be questions. James, kindly formulate for us a question and an interrogation scenario.
Why do I feel? Why do I feel I am better placed here than
Yes,
you are?
kindly.
Than
Kindly,
No,
kindly.
okay,
No.
I want.
Let
Okay,
Eshuchi
fine.
say, please.
Eshuchi,
Let the Eshuchi take
give
this.
me
He
a
will save
question.
yes,
us.
Give
He
me an
will save
yes.
our
interrogation, and
battle.
let's James give us a question.
So,
I will give you no, I will give you both to drive the discrepancy home. James can have his own pair of it, and I'll make this very simple. A simple question like, let's say, Eli, I want to ask about your age. The proper question is, Eli, how old are you? Because then this question gives you the absolute power to answer. It gives you the absolute power to give all the information, and it places you at liberty. It makes you the dominant in the discussion because, of course, it depends on you for the answer. When I come with a question like this, Ellie, you look like 35. Now, that is not a question anymore. Or, Ellie, are you 35? Because why am I making a judgment? Why am I making a guess? So I am coming from a place of, I have profiled you and I've placed you here. So I'll bring this home hypothetically. Okay, are you from your house out there? Where are you from? Where are you from? Now ask me where I am from. Then I'll tell you where I am from. Then from there, you can decide if my answer is not convincing enough for you to probe in further. And if my answer is not good enough and you're a good questioner, let me just use that word for the time being. If you're a good questioner, I can tell that, okay, you are not convinced. So I'll try to convince you further, or I'll let you ask or clear your doubt. But when you come at me with an interrogation, are you from your house? Are you wherever? Already it sets a precedence. I take the victim seat. And of course, already no discussion will happen because now cordiality is out of the window. James can give us his set, so his set of
To help James out,
The reason,
James,
yes.
probably you respond to this question, and probably if you want to add something on Eshuchi's end, you've had the interrogation aspect, and then Bay, let me use the word Bay. Bay decides that, why are you not talking to me? Why are you not
Use
saying
a better
anything to
word
me?
for Matasyo's sake.
Matasyo, we are
Can you
here
leave
for
Matasyo
peace.
alone?
We had a whole season fighting over words. Let it in peace for once. James, if you got my question.
Now, number one, let me start with what you had asked Eshuchi before, or you had asked me, and Eshuchi graciously saved me from that entrapment. I believe the reason why I avoided that question is because I believe I am very, very predictable. Yeah. And I believe in predictability for the sake and peace of those around me. Okay. I will make sure that the people who matter know that at 1 p.m. I am usually at this point doing this thing. At 4:30 p.m. I am usually en route coming from point A to point B. At 6:30 p.m. I am in the house. I am very, very predictable. If I divert from that schedule, I will take time to alert you. I will tell you today I'll late. I will not come in at 6:30. I'll come in at 9 because I have to run 1, 2, 3. Okay. So that is a deliberate action that I take. So when I come in and I'm put under interrogation, that immediately sets me off. I can't handle, because I'm thinking, then why did I take time to let you know beforehand my whereabouts? If I'm not coming home, I'll tell you I am not coming today. If I'm watching soccer late with the boys, I'll tell you today I might come in at 3 a.m. So I come in at 3 a.m. and you start policing me, we will have a problem. We will have a problem because I have made it deliberate to let you know in advance to remove the uncertainties. Because like Eshuchi said, if you're missing in action and your people do not know where you are, definitely that creates uncertainties and anxieties and all that. So if I've taken the time to let you know beforehand, but then I'm still under grilling, then we will have a problem. I will either block, so you will talk, and in my mind, I'm like, okay, because I have to be here, let me just be here. And then it will lead to question number 2, which you are asking, which comes, why are you not talking to me? And I usually ask, are you listening? Listening and hearing are 2 different things. Yeah. Because again, we have to look at the community, how we both men and women communicate. Very different. A man will use very few words to describe their day. One of the hardest questions that I face is, how was your day? That question, I have never been able to answer it, because in my mind, it was either good, or it was complicated, or it was bad, or it was messed up, and that's it. And then you will answer, I had a good day. And that time you're craving your space. So there is a formality that you have to go through. So I had a good day. And then this partner feels like you're withholding information. And that's where now the issues start arising from. But what we need to realize is that men and women communicate differently. Ask a lady, how was your day? Be prepared, have coffee, sit down and listen to how the day was. Because it will be 15 minutes narration. They will start with how they woke up, how they dressed, went to the shower, dressed, went out of the door, met Sijui who. They will give you a whole narration. As men, we don't. We are not wired. We are not wired to do that. And these communication styles are what ultimately brings a lot of conflict. If two partners are not able to understand, then definitely there will be conflict. So I don't know if I've answered your question, because you always say I escape your questions. It's just that
No. That's perfectly in. I want to ask, and I don't know, James, there's something with your microphone that is giving us a hard time. Probably you should adjust your cables a little bit more. Meanwhile, Eshuchi, I want you to give us some little piece. There's that thing you did before we came on live. You know that thing you are doing? Do it for 40 seconds. This is your moment, and then we come back. The peace of a man. Eshuchi.
Mtafute kakitu bana, mtafute kakitu.
Yes, tunaongea behind the scenes.
Stuck on you. Got this feeling down deep in soul that I just can't lose. Guess I'm on my way. Needed a friend, and the way I feel now, I guess I'll be with you till the end. Guess I'm on my way. Might be glad you stayed. Naibaki seko singamaye yanga ina mobali nanga pantalo mokabama ikalala kosuki sabilo belango ya bado ikwela yanga ina sheri sukari jamana onga ina ya ho Nayebi kombo ya bandate Boyangai na ya ho Ibala ko ya ko bandate Ae
Lumumba, Eshuchi, thank you so much. You know, kuna watu waelewi hizo wimbo, but najua James is in his space right now. This is the kind of music when we were growing up, our parents were listening to, and we were wondering, what's wrong with these guys? Hii ni nini? But then again, takes us back to the memory lane. You're watching The Men's Den, and tonight we have Matasyo Kagwa, the African man, James Mwathi, the psychologist. Eshuchi Lumumba leo ameamua kukuwa mwanamuziki, and of course, the only guy that talks a lot and knows nothing about what he's saying, Mr. Likuyani. Godwin Segero, James, I have had to create stories to describe how my day was. The struggle is real. The struggle is real. Okay, let's see this one here. I think there's a lot of TikTok chat here. We have Karo Kiki anasema finally amehama, karibu sana Karo Kiki. We have Njekita says mine would stay in the car till I get tired to get him out of the car after 2 hours. You are suffering, sister. You are suffering. The struggle is real.
Njekita. That one is Njekita is real.
2 hours in the car. I would lock him out and let him sleep in that car. Haki ya Mungu. Haki ya Mungu. I don't think I have to emphasize on their points because clearly this is against the whole reason we are here tonight, trying to have a conversation about the peace of a man. Finally, let's take one more too, James. I had to create stories to describe how my day was. So, James, since
before you ask
your microphone will be allowing me to mute and unmute you. So go ahead, sir.
No, I was saying, we don't expect the ladies to understand. Again, remember what we are discussing is what is peace to a man, not to a woman, but to a man. So today I am not even able to respond to the questions and their comments because what is peaceful to us will not make sense to them, and it is perfectly okay. Yeah, it is perfectly okay, just the same way we might not understand all their ways and all their reasoning. They will not understand. So it is perfectly okay.
Eshuchi, we've had a whole season of the Men's Den, and we started building this man all the way from a baby. And now he's a man dealing with manly issues. How do we help this man establish his own peace in his world that is already existing in? Kwa sababu at the end of the day, we must coexist with this other gender.
There's one thing that I live by, and I sometimes I say it and it sounds so easy out there, but I think if I would flex myself and say there's one thing that I've invested in myself the most, I think it would be self-awareness. And I think self-awareness is that one thing that a lot of men, in my opinion, are struggling to have. And what is self-awareness? Self-awareness is the critical analysis and being in touch with who you are. Understanding your strengths as a man, understanding your personality, understanding how you react to situations, and then now being at a mature state of knowing what your triggers are, knowing how to mitigate situations that could actually get you into positions of anormalcy reactions. So why am I bringing this forth? A lot of men have very tight, very tight schedules, and then when they need to take breathers and decompress from their schedules, then they don't get the space to do that. So you realize a lot of men in the now generation are not making, I want to call them the serious moves. The serious moves in life are the nerve-breaking moves. Eli, those moves that you hear a man said, I woke up this day and decided I'm quitting my job. I woke up this day and decided, you know what, I'm starting a business. I woke up this day and decided I am starting up a consultancy firm. Let me tell you the truth. You will never make such decisions if you're not taking time and your space to have peace and realize, criticize, and self-analyze yourself. Because these are moves that require, number one, sobriety. You need to be sober. You need to be very aware of what you want. You need to have very clear goals. But you see, the men that we have, because of the situations that deprive them of spaces that belong to them, all the time that they are free, all the time that they have some little time, they spend it with friends, maybe in a bar, with lack of sobriety. So you have an 8 to 5 Monday to Friday. Friday evening, because it's your time to relax and you're not going to work on Saturday, you go with the boys drink. So you come back home probably drunk or tipsy or whatever, but just not sober. You wake up on Saturday, or the house looks funny. The wife is cleaning the house, anakwambia inua mguba na chukua kiti ukae huko kwa balcony. Now, because that is also tagging you, you go out to drink again. Then it's Sunday, and then now the anxiety of Monday blues comes. You haven't gotten a single minute to actually sit with yourself and say this and that and that. What James is saying is right. We don't expect women to understand this, but there's a huge benefit, and there's a huge change that you discover if you just created space. And I know peace can be described very variably across genders and across people as well. But number one, if you are not a good listener, and what James made a lot of points on his just previous speech. If you are not a good listener, and this is listening to understand, not listening to react, not listening like you are in a court of law. You know, lawyers are the ones who listen to react. They listen to see the loopholes in what you're saying. Don't listen to loophole. I think there is almost no man who can tell me that they appreciate being listened to, and that is one thing that men lack. Men are not listened to. You are at work, you're trying to do this, perhaps the boss is not listening. You are in the house, you're trying to explain why you can't do this, why you are unable to do this, why you have to do this. Nobody is listening. Everyone is, meeting you with some sort of a rebellion. You're explaining why you can't raise this money, someone is seeing you in sufficiency. You're explaining why you are not able to make time for this and this, no one is listening. But the moment you start listening to a man, you will not ask them to create time or do things. Because the moment a man knows this is where my thoughts belong, this is where I can express myself, he won't go out with the boys every other day, because he'll know I have somebody in the house who's waiting to listen to what my day really was, and they're not asking about my day just for formality. So create that. And if listening is very difficult for you, then once in a while, let the man be. Just let him roam around the house. Let him not having to talk. Si eti kila mtu mwenye aongei sasa amenuna. Sometimes you just
we can't have him on the leash all the time. Matasyo,
yes.
We must have a conclusion to this discussion tonight, but I would love to ask you this so that we understand one another. We want to operate in an environment whereby there is a man and woman or partners that are in a relationship. So where do you draw peace to a man, and how does it reflect to the partner they are with? This is peace, and then it's a man and the partner. How does it reflect?
First of all, I like now the way you put it. Now, the statement is a complete statement now, because in the beginning it looked like men we are trying to be selfish. Like, what is peace to a man? Yeah, okay. Then what is peace to your wife then? Then what is peace to your children? What's peace to your parents? Because we cohabit and we coexist, it is very important. And I will reflect to what Eshuchi said. The first important thing is finding yourself. So when you find yourself, you understand the things that are important to you. How do they sound to the other ones? You understand? Because in the beginning, for example, Kenya, you can say we've grown up with the culture thinking that men have always been going to the bars, to the clubs, to hang around with their fellow men because they love beer and alcohol. But when you do a deeper research, you realize our ladies even enjoy and like alcohol more than men. They drink more, and men go there, they talk more and come up with something more than just the alcohol. That has been true for the last 10 years. Okay. So for me, the most important thing is to realize that in as much as you fight for the community out there as a man, we put the priority of fighting for your own peace at the minimum. You understand? And that's where the problem comes. And the biggest here is we have to understand we are two different genders. I'll come to 3 points that I want to put very clear. Things like, you have to understand some questions already when you are dealing with your peace. For the other person, whatever you do may be a genuine reason for you, or it may be an excuse. For example, if you come home at 3 o'clock, you have a very good genuine reason why you are late, or really not even late, why you have come down after finishing your business. So when somebody asks you why you are late, whatever you answer, they are not looking for the reason why you are late. According to them, they are looking for an excuse why you be late. So every answer you give, just as Eshuchi say, learn to listen, not to defend yourself. But they're asking questions not to know the answer. They're asking questions to prove that you are having an excuse. So it's like, what is your excuse today? So the question is not where are you, what is your excuse today? So wherever you say, wherever you are not even answering the question. Now, the most important thing to relate to here is when you know there is a moment you have to explain yourself, or in a moment you have to give an excuse. But in this case, in every time you're looked at somebody who has to give an excuse, don't worry about that. It is about life, because the other one is different and you are different. She is the queen and the kingdom of the home. You are the hunter and gatherer outside there. Now, when you know that, you wouldn't even, like my friend says, they have to invent stories to explain how their day was. And remember, another thing I have to attend to is, don't listen to what they say. Listen to what they want. Another thing is, you have to understand how was your day is always having the underlining question is, did you think about me today? That is very important. So, for example, it's very easy. For example, if you had a very difficult day and you know when I go home, I'm in a very different state, get a few flowers or the favorite perfume and everything, come back home, fix your thing, stay in the car 1 hour. When they come home, give the flower or give the perfume. Those 2 hours will be validated. Because right now, you have not answered to the question, how was your day? You have answered to the question, did you think about me? And for men, a lot of advice for men. If you know you're going somewhere back to your child, to your mother, to your wife, to whatever, it takes 5 minutes to think about them. Really, honestly, however busy you are. And this one, men will crucify me. It takes only 5 minutes, even if you're walking to the bus station. And we see these things on the road. Leave alone buying, leave alone doing things. I know a pastor who told me she always walked alongside the graveyard to pick wild flowers because she knew the wife liked flowers, but he could not afford to buy flowers every day. So I'm like, how do you feel collecting flowers from a graveyard to make your wife happy? He said, no, the flowers are different from a graveyard and from a shop. They are all flowers. Then I realized this man listens to what a woman wants, not what they are saying. They want to see flowers, irrespective whether you pass through a cemetery or you pass through a club.
Matasyo, you should write for us a female dictionary so that you can give us questions and their alternative meanings. Because that is one burden that has been bestowed on men all these years, and the goalposts keep shifting. Then you realize the answer to your question. It has like 5 variations out there.
Don't listen to the question, listen to what is wanted. So for me, I would close with that. And the most important thing I say is, I go back to my opening. Start as young as possible. Young in the relationship. Like when you meet someone, you see me, when I come from work, I take 25 minutes in the car before I come in the house. When I leave in the car, I put on my music with my phone in the shower for another 25 minutes. And after that, I go and 25. So when I come home, count another 1.5 hours before I give you attention. So you come, you pass there, you leave your flowers there. How was it? Kiss, go and do your thing. You become fresh.
Matasyo, the challenge with that, Matasyo. That's one day when that routine will change. Let me tell you, Matasyo, let me counter you just quickly before you complete. Never give your partner your absolute schedule and your absolute, routine. Because these people will know you left work at 5:30. It is 5:35, and I know you take 5 minutes to do this and this. What were you doing within these 30 seconds over here? And you need to
surprise them. Tell them tire ilipasuka kwa barabara and you've been waiting for the next tire to come. You have arrived at 3 a.m. Surprise them. If they tell you are late, surprise them the following day. Come 2 days later.
Let me just finish like this. How it comes to the other one. Eshuchi, is it man? If you come home, and your partner tells you, you come, ulisema mwenyewe, si kila mtu amenyamaza amenuna. That I like it. So, if she tells you, like you ask the same, how was your day? But I need time for myself. You understand? You will. But you as a man, when you say, I need time for myself at that particular moment, there has to be a reason why you want time for yourself today. Why you need space for yourself today. But that's a very important thing. That's actually what we need. But we just fail to declare it as a priority. Mimi nikikuja na kaanga kwa gari, finished. Hiyo usinilizange.
Sawa. Matasyo, let's finish that. And because we actually having this as the last episode, I will request one more thing. We've had a great season. Unfortunately, Makomere is not here, but he's in the comment section. As we close down the curtains of this season, we're expecting a season 3 come the month of February, just after the Valentine's edition. What would be your point of focus, James? I hope your microphone can behave. James, please.
What is wrong with my microphone?
We will tell you after. Right now you can talk.
I am not sure what you've asked. I'm not sure whether you want me to reflect on the past season, or you want me to look into the future, into the season that we are going into.
I would love for you to tell us, going into the future, what do you think is going to be our approach now that we've built this man? There is something that I feel we need now to do, is to emancipate this man, if that's the word you are looking at. Is this something you think we should be looking at come season 3?
You see, the reason why we intentionally decided that we need to build this man up to where he starts adulting is because of the situations that we find amongst men today, and we were trying to answer the question why. Why are men so disillusioned? Why are men so voiceless? Why are men all that? And we've gotten to the point where we've looked at how he grew up, how society and his environments have shaped him. And probably now the next phase that we are supposed to go into is, how does this man relate with his different environments currently? How does he relate with his marriage? How does he relate? So we talked about very, very fundamental issues. Why is one man able to make those earth-breaking decisions while another one will play safe throughout their life? Yeah. So probably into the next season, it will be to look at the man as is today and how he interacts with the different environments, and probably find solutions for them, because we can't just keep on talking about problems and challenges without giving solutions. So probably coming into the next season, we will look more into solution-based rather than just the challenges.
Awesome. Thank you, James. Eshuchi, do you believe the man is enslaved to his desires and it's time to root him out?
I believe we've done a good job with trying to get the man to understand who he is, and trying to also help ourselves understand why the man is like he is. And I agree with James that yes, we have tried as much as possible, perhaps not sufficiently, but the best we could, to expose this man to his own shortcomings, his own reactions, and give him reasons as to why he behaves the way he does. So I think the next phase, like James puts it, should be solution oriented. Yes, man could be a slave to his desires. He could be suffering from choices that he's made that are led or initiated from his desires. And I think we want to work around getting him out of those. And I think if you bring that down very, very condensedly, I think we want to talk about creating a self-aware person. So a man should know when he's being manipulated. A man should know when he's behaving like the victim. A man should know when it's actually his obligation. And yeah, just like James puts it, solutions. Let's give solutions. And let's make this man accountable where he needs to. Let's rescue him where he's being oppressed. And let's vocalize him so that he's able to express himself when things don't sound right.
Awesome. African man,
Yes.
save the notes for the next season. Give us your parting shot as we go into this break.
My parting shot is very simple. That if you say where we've come from and where we have now, I think I'd like to give a very big pat on your shoulder. Eli, Eshuchi, Gilbert, Makomere in absentia, and James. We brought up a man, we gave him wings, and this time, my friends, the next season, let us see this man fly. That's all we can do. Give them wings and let them fly. So I think we have discussed a lot of things here, from very difficult words to accept in my personal dictionary, like deadbeat fathers, bae, and stuff, but we have survived it. And we have defined our man in very many different ways. And I think for those who listen to not what we are saying, but what the world needs, and also those ones who have not looked at us for who we are, but rather what we are standing for, and with the 3 lines of engaging, educating, the 4 lines, engaging, educating, setting up, and all those things, I think we have given enough out there at this moment, and I feel it for myself. You guys have given me so much motivation. So now we are strong men. Let us use the wings we have given each other and fly.
Thank you so much. That is it from the Men's Den Season 2. And we can't wait to bring you Season 3. Of course, I'll be looking forward to have more and more contributions from everybody in the comment section, from our viewers that have been very ardent. I see the likes of Wakeji Kamore coming in tonight. I see Frida Nguku, thank you so much. Nancy Magen, and we have Zaidi ya Muziki Live Band. Thank you so much for coming in tonight. The carols and the carols that I've seen, we'll be singing some of them probably. But just to call it a night, thank you so much, everybody that made this a possibility, including Boniface Witaba, who just came in. Jekita, great season, guys. Keep the excellent work. Men's Den Season 3, Matasyo, Eshuchi, James, Gilbert, and hashtag Eli. See you next year as we come back with fresh content to make solution-oriented men and build men that are able to be called men of integrity and men that are able to deal with the routes around them. Thank you so much, of course, Gilbert, Makomere, Matasyo, Kagwa, Eshuchi, Lumumba, and without forgetting James Mwathi. Until next year, guys, see you and happy holidays. Tumekafunga wa jamaa. Yeah, ilikuwa wrong. Tumesema tena tumekafunga. Goodbye, good night.